Hey everybody, welcome. And it is your coach here, Aaliyah Freeman. I'm excited to be here again, sharing how you can be confident as a beauty pro. And today we specifically want to talk about how to talk about your prices in confidence. So I know it's a very challenging thing to do, talking about your pricing, especially if you don't feel confident in your pricing. And so for today, I'm going to talk about um, some things that we could actually do to help us increase our confidence as a beauty pro when we are stating pricing. Okay. So a few things, just a few things that you should know about pricing is I believe we come to this space of building confidence around pricing when we are first starting as a beauty pro. You're probably just coming out of school and you probably have to set your prices. Um, Also, too, those who maybe have been in the industry for a while and you have a clientele, and maybe you notice that you have to do a price increase. And so, confidence in your pricing can come in this matter. Even if you're taking a career shift, like maybe you're no longer servicing a certain clientele, you're taking it up a notch by introducing luxury service to luxury clients. And so there has to be a price change. And so today we're going to talk about those aspects in several different ways and how you can build your confidence as a beauty pro. First and foremost, this is specifically for those who are beauty professionals. If you're a hairstylist, a makeup artist, barber, esthetician, anyone who has to set their own prices, this video is going to be very beneficial for you. If you work in a salon or an establishment that already have set prices, then it will be a little different for you because all you have to do is tell them what that price is. So this is definitely going to be for someone who have to set their prices as well as say and tell their clients what their prices are. Just to let you guys know that I understand exactly what that space looked like in all three avenues. And it definitely, it's not something that can be easily done. It's something that you have to work from the inside out to. Meaning, um, the first thing I know when I had to change my pricing when I was working in a salon, I had to change my pricing because COVID had hit. And when COVID hit, one thing that I recognized was that um, I wasn't able to take as many clients as I had been used to taking. And so I had to increase my pricing in order for my business to be able to even sustain through COVID. And so if I was trying to have a profitable business, I would have had to increase my pricing so that I can see revenue coming in. And that was a hard pivot for me because I noticed that um, there were going to be some clients that wasn't going to come on board with the new pricing, and I wasn't in that space of ready to let go. If I can share anything with you, especially in the beauty industry, one thing I noticed is that we can be very emotionally tied to our gift. This could be a really good but bad thing for business. It's good that you do have emotion and you can connect with your client, but it's also bad when it comes to you having to make business decisions and it has nothing to do with an emotional thing. And so if you start making decisions based upon emotion, what will happen is your business won't succeed. And so you have to figure out, where do I draw the line between emotion and business? You want to be emotionally connected to client as you're speaking to them, and building that relationship with them, but you have to have a healthy balance with business to make sure that that emotion is drawn, and it's cut off when it's time to handle your coin. If you don't do this, you will see an effect in your business. So that's something I want to highlight as we're moving forward. As a beauty entrepreneur, you have to maintain entrepreneurship to make sure that you are able to do what is necessary to handle your business, okay? So, let's talk about the struggle with confidence. So, most of the time, we can be fearful of quoting prices, especially when you first starting out, right? You might see those in the industry may charge prices, and you might say, "Man, that's a lot," and you may not feel worthy of that price. You might feel like it's too expensive, or you may not feel like someone even pay you that much. One thing what I want to say is you never want to quote prices based upon what your pockets can afford. If you set the price based upon what you can afford, then you're probably not going to make as money. Remember, your client doesn't have to be on the same financial scale as you. Your clients, you want them to be on a financial scale that you're not on so that they can be able to afford your business. Now, even if you have an affordable menu for those that maybe those who have um, make it affordable for those who you want to serve, that's fine, but you still don't want to base prices based upon your pocket. You want to make sure you base your prices based upon the median of the target audience that you serve. So meaning you're going to charge luxury prices. You want to make sure you check the budget of a luxury client. You want to serve those when you start thinking about who your target audience is, and you might say, "Well, I want to serve professionals." You want to make sure you look into the bracket of how much do those professionals spend for services. This will help you determine when you're setting prices what range you need to stick upon so that you can maintain in that tax bracket. Okay? So the first thing is don't be afraid to quote the price. I know you may be just starting out, but you still have to get paid revenue in order for your business to even make it. You charge super low prices like $50 blowout and $25 nail set. You start pricing things so low, you got to think about how much is it going to cost me to be able to live and pay bills as well as for me to buy everything that I need to buy within my business. You got to make sure you count the cost before you put a number on it. Because if you think about what more so set prices based upon what you think, rather than what your numbers need to say, then what's going to happen is you're going to struggle when trying to build your business, and rather than feel confident in getting money to pay the bills as well as for your business. A lot of mindset blocks that we go through is the fear of rejection. Sometimes you may be afraid to charge $150 for a service because you're afraid that they're going to reject you. Sometimes you may feel like maybe it sounds too expensive, and no one would want to buy your services because you may think it's too expensive. Sometimes you might just not feel worthy of that price that you are setting. And this is why it's an inside job because you got to get to a place where you understand your value. Because if you do not, then what happens is you'll start building a business based upon how you see yourself. And if you don't see yourself with quality and value, then you're going to put it out there as if you're not worth it. Okay? So, this is how you build your confidence. One thing that I would recommend that you get to a place where you know your value. Your mindset shift when you start affirming who you are and your value of what you carry. Affirmation is a great place to start seeing yourself in a different way so that you won't believe the doubts and the lies of the enemy that speak to you to make you think that you're anything less than. So let's talk about pricing and positioning. First of all, cheap does not always mean value, and expensive doesn't always mean value. Value has everything to do with the standard, the experience, the quality, and the transformation. This is what equals value. the standard, the experience, the quality, and the transformation. You want to make sure that those four things are up to par before you set a price. So if you're setting and creating an experience, people are going to pay for that. You're having quality services and products, people are going to pay for that. And if you're providing a transformation, meaning they can go in one way, coming out feeling and looking another, they're going to pay for that, okay? So you want to make sure you're tying in all of those things to make sure that you are carrying value within your business. And this is why people pay money. This is what encourages people to pay money. So you may think just because you're starting out, you can't charge $100 for a blowout. But if you make sure that your business is built upon those four things, I guarantee you, if you don't tell someone you're just starting, they probably wouldn't even know because you're focusing on four things that clients are looking for within an experience. Okay? So you're not charging just for your time, you're also charging for experience. You're charging for transformation, and for um you're charging for the work that you're putting in. So don't think that it's just about getting paid for your time, but you're also getting paid because you're making an impact. You're also getting paid because you got to make sure that you replace money back into your business to invest in more products, to invest in more education. So you got to look at all of those different things when you're setting prices. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the conversations about pricing. So when we're trying to set prices, there are three different types of conversations that we can have to set pricing. The first one is the inquiry in your DM, or if it's email, you sending actual inquiries about what it means for your services. So for instance, you might send someone an email or a DM that says, "Thanks so much for reaching out." You might say, "My services start at," you might say, "For a lot retweet service, it starts at X, Y, and Z." And it includes X, Y, and Z. And then you would pretty much follow up with that conversation as, "I would love to get you on my schedule so we can get your appointment." So when you having these type of conversations, a client DM you, you want to make sure that you tell them what the starting price is. I will always say starting because if you say the price is, then people are going to bring just that. But if you tell them starting, that lets them know that they can round that number up to have enough money. And what determines the final price is when you're able to do an actual consultation, or you're actually able to look, or able to look at the hair, look at the client, and be able to evaluate and determine a final price. So never set that price without seeing the client actual hair, nail, skin, or whatever you're servicing. Okay. Then we'll talk about the face-to-face quote. When setting prices, you want to make sure you're confident in face-to-face when someone asks you what that price is. Don't look around and be like, don't look away and say my price is such and such and such. No, you gotta work on being confident, looking face to face, explaining to the client and letting them know what your price is. The more confident you are about your price and what you offer, clients will buy into confidence, okay? But if you seem like you're not so sure what that price is, or if I've seen some people, they will write it down or they'll have it on something and they'll give it to the client, or they'll just pull it up on the tablet and let the client actually figure it out themselves what the price is. Like, don't be afraid of telling the client what your price is, Be confident about this because this shows that you know your value, you know what your worth, you know that you're going to be able to provide a service. So be sure that your confidence in face-to-face quoting, letting them know face-to-face, this is how much my services cost, and this is what you're going to get with each service. This is what matters, okay? All right. Also, too, I want you to be confident even when you get pushed back. So when a person you tell them your price and they might say, "Oh no, that's too much. I can't afford that." And then you can say, "I completely understand you're exploring options. I may not be the cheapest, but I'm committed to giving you a beautiful, high quality experience." So tell them what you're willing to execute, right? And if they don't decide to book with you, it's okay. Know that that leaves room for the right person to book with you. So never feel like you have to pressure or negotiate your price just to get a client to get in a chair, okay? So one thing about consumers and clients, when we see something and we really want it, we're gonna do what is necessary to make sure we get it. So, excuse me. So if a client is not willing to go the extra mile for your price, then that just might not be a client, and it's okay. You want to make sure that you're not cheating yourself once you set these prices, just to make sure that you can fit in someone else's pocket. Because what will happen is more than likely that client will overwork you for the less money that they're trying to pay. So you want to make sure when you set your prices, you make sure that you accept those clients who are willing to pay for your services and for your price. Okay, so one thing I would say to build your confidence in setting your prices and speaking them to people, you want to first, you can start practicing. You can start practicing with a friend. You can start practicing in the mirror, face to face in the mirror. You can start practicing by recording, but you have to build and exercise your voice so that you are able to deliver in confidence when the time has come. Okay? All right. Also, too, when setting a price, I want you to create a sheet that lists all your services and the prices. You need to study them so that when your prices are at, you don't feel like you have to go search and see what the price is. You need to know what they are. If you already have clients, I think it's best that you create a menu chart and send it to your client so that they are familiar with their prices, especially if you're doing a price change. You want to make sure things are very clear in communication. Because remember, we communicate like a pro. And you want to make sure that you communicate with your clients about what this pretty much is. And that will help you be able to connect with those clients so that they can able to see what they will be getting for the prices and the services. And don't apologize for your prices. Like, be sure that you are ready for your ideal client because your ideal client, they're going to instantly book. They're not going to question your prices. They're going to instantly book you, okay? So don't apologize for your prices. Don't negotiate your prices. And make sure that you deliver and offer what you promise to deliver for the price. Make sure your price is packed with value. It doesn't have to be overpriced packaged with stuff, but make sure it's priced with value. Okay? All right. So now I want to hear from you. Let me know what has been the hardest part about quoting your rate. Drop a comment below and let me know what's been the hardest thing for you. Also, too, if you know anyone who's in the beauty industry who's been having trouble with pricing, I want you to invite them to this video and like, comment, and subscribe. All right? So, one thing I want to share with you guys, I'm always available for coaching. For individual coaching. So if you need some personal assistance with building your beauty business, I want you to be sure that you reach out to me and click on my website on the bottom of this link, www.educatebeauty360.com, to be sure that you actually book for a one-on-one coaching call, and we'll be able to listen, and I'll be able to listen to some concerns you're having, give you strategies, and we'll actually help you implement these things together so that you're able to execute in confidence. All right. And also to feel free to pretty much take on any of our resources that we have available on our website. They're always available to you. Some of them are packaged with prices, and some of them are free. But do whatever you feel is necessary for you to get started today. Also, remember, you're more than willing to join the Journey to Beauty Pro community, where we join in once a month as a community, and we discuss all things in the beauty industry as we are growing as a community. Feel free to jump in for that community group, and I look forward to contacting you guys soon. See you guys on the next video.